Hurry up, 5 minutes. 5 minutos. Esta noche es muy caliente.
Hey, download your TikTok app today so you can have Chinese spyware in your house for free. You go down! Give me money!
Fucking future!
We're talking about a fat ass and everything, yeah.
No, I said loud ass. It's like I took a poop and it was one of those painful ones that brings a tear to your eye. Why you look so pixelated? I don't know. 'Cause waffles? Oh! Okay. Grab my drink. Don't mind me. I mean, I don't know how many times you want me to hit OK to continue, but we'll do that. We'll just keep on playing this fucking game, phone. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, we do the thing? Your new profile updated? Well, good. Your mom's sweet ass. Sorry, I was talking to my phone. Don't mind me. My head is still balls. I have a feeling that at some point I'm going to have to do the damn thing. Oh, free girls in New City? Oh, wow. That's great. So excited. My goodness. Free girls in New City. Wait, where's my whiskey? Can't do nothing without the whiskey. Well, I mean, we can. Oh, there it is. Where is Doggo? Oh, yeah, over here. There is Doggo. La la la. See, now you get to see my steel balls. My balls! They're so shiny. Uh-oh. Oh no. We're running out of book fuel. We'll have to switch to the cheaper stuff after this cup is gone. I hope you're okay with that, Mama. Yeah? I know, right? That was barely enough to get friggin' arrested for. Oh, booze. Anyways. Hiya. I mean, sorry, Restreambot got 69girls.xyz telling me, free girls in U City. Free girls in U City. Free girls in U City. I'm like, wow, there's free girls in U City. And I'm just like, oh my God. Be still my beating heart. No, over it. We're good. There we go. Didn't have a chance to really adjust too much. I set everything up before I started streaming, except I did not get my drink. This smells tasty. What you think, Mama? She's like, I think nothing. If I move the table, it's going to move everything else. I'm going to have to readjust. There you go. That's better. That's better. People need to see your pretty face. Your pretty face. Use guys and use pretty faces. That's where we're at. I was going to call you, but it's getting that time, and I got to do the thing. And if you crash out on me, I don't blame you. 11 hours is a long day. Ah, no, you stop it! You know, my only regret about that trip, honestly, I mean, other than financial, that's a given, but, you know, it's just the fact that we didn't start watching One Piece. And I don't want you to watch it without me, because, I mean, I've rewatched the first, like, 4 or 5 story arcs, like, I don't know. More than 3, less than 20, somewhere in that range, I have no idea. Oh, shit, it's time to wake up, Roxy. We got our 8:30 alarm. That's that final bell before you're tardy. I don't want to be tardy. Oh no, don't say that, because then I'll end the stream early just to be considerate. I mean, what if we get raided and I finally make partner? Ha! Then I see these videos on like YouTube and Facebook. Mr. Beast jumps onto a random stream and donates $100,000. I'm like, okay. I'm waiting, buddy. Daddy needs a new roof and windows, but, you know. Oh, she said, darling. Darling. See, I got it on the line. It says, just keep sipping. It's so shiny. It's like I'm trying to amp myself up to have a sip of whiskey. Like, come on, do it. Look, these McAllister cups, they're fantastic. Quite possibly my favorite tumbler of all time. Oh, that's mesmerizing. Holy shit. Anyways, like, I'll fill it up to this line right here with juice or soda or whatever, and then we fill up this part and this part with the son of a bitch. Liquor. Damn, nearly killed him. Ooh. It's like candy. They get you fucked up. Hey, we already talked about that. No ass eating on stream. You're gonna be canceled. Don't get me canceled. I mean, I barely have enough to justify even doing this, but here we are. Because I'm gonna do this regardless of people watching or not, but, you know, it'd be really nice if you guys joined me. I can read a lot better when I don't have to read out loud. I know, you'd think I'm the kind of guy who has to move his lips when he reads just by outward appearance. Well, that makes you a profiler. Are you a profiler? Don't profile, guys. Be better than that. Do the thing. Oh, wait, do I share this? I guess I could share it. Share to? Bitch. Don't fuck with me. Share to. There you go. Messenger. Boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. I only send it to my favorites. Oh, I wonder if Mike's streaming today. Oh, well, I'm going to send him a link anyways. Haha, suck it. Haha. Well, I sent one to Cricket, too, because he needs to know. Oh. Okay, I think I've sent out more than enough. I just sent it out to my favorite 10 people. Or give or take 1 or 2. I don't know. I can't count. Like, I'm only half Asian people, and even then I have to try. I'm not doing too well on that. They might be coming by to revoke my Asian card. Like, you too big, your eye too round, your pee-pee too. Okay, the pee-pee okay. It keeps you guessing, right? I don't know. We don't talk about pee-pees here. We say penis, because that's the correct term. Yeah, penis. You're not supposed to chug it. I'll do what I want. You know, the thing. Man, no matter what I do, that cup just does not want to be fronted. I think I'm going to skip the dip for tonight. See if I can actually read without going right there. Huh? Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that, because that's the kind of considerate... Well, I'm not really a narrator. What What am I doing? That's what a considerate reader would do? I only got this bookmark because it was steel. I'm a fan of the steel. As a matter of fact, I might even put an edge on it and forget and slice my fingers open at some point by accident. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But it's 50 books to read before you die. It starts off with the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien, 1984 by George Orwell, and then it finishes with The Pictures of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Well, yeah, there's a whole list of books and stuff on here. It's kind of neat. I've got a really cool bookmark. How about you? Do you even read, bro? Anyways, let's get this shoe on the road. Anybody remember where we left off? Oh wait, nobody remembers where we left off because the reason why I quit was because nobody was watching. Well, hopefully tonight will be different. Hopefully we've got active participants making observations and notes about what I just read. And if not, well, you know, sigh. At least be here, my lovely silent supporters. Oh, well. F-Bandiz, thank you for following. Why is it tagged as Hungarian? Bandi. Azért, mert tudok egy-két szót magyarul kiköpni. Because I can spit out a word or two in Hungarian. De csak is azért. Boss. I'm nobody's boss. Hát az lófasz. That's what. Azért. Mert azt mondtam. But you know, it's a very long story. But let's just say that my father dropped me off in Budapest with the uncle, and nobody spoke English because, you know, Gorbachev and whatnot, and I didn't speak any Hungarian at the time. Szóval tudósítási okok miatt tanultam magyarul beszélni. So, you know, I in order to inform and speak, I had to learn to speak the language. Sink or swim. 5 évesen. I learned Hungarian at 5. Well, how come you speak the English? Class? Location? Whew. Yes, the Hungarian tag stays on because, well, if somebody does want to converse in Hungarian, especially when I'm gaming, then absolutely no problem. I was never gone. Okay, I was gone. But that's not the point. We did Bobby Ross Wednesday, and we did Books and Bourbon Tuesday, and nobody's watching either. And then when Cheetah and I switched over to PUBG on Wednesday because I just didn't feel like painting anymore, well, you get what you get. Everybody's been gone. Everybody's been gone. Everybody's been busy. That's true. That's true. What's up, Necrosis? How you doing? You know what? That was the thing. That was the first thing I asked her. I'm like, okay, why do you find me appealing? I mean, do you want one of my kidneys? Cool. Well, you know, you should probably have that volume low so you can hear them feedy footsteps. Necrosis Gaming is a bounty hunter. I don't know how to say that in Hungarian. Let's see here. Da-da-da-da. I've missed you guys. I didn't even bring my Switch with me. Fejvadász. There you go. Headhunter. Okay, that's what that literally translates to. Fej meaning head and vadász means hunter. Okay, fejvadász. Oh, now I know, and knowing's half the battle. So right now I am reading Slash with Anthony Baza. Collections. The Boomerang Man. Crikey. Okay. Flash. Indeed, indeed. Okay, maybe one more small sip of whiskey, and then we'll continue. I'm drinking Knob Creek. Same thing as last week. Before everybody stopped watching. Oh, I love you guys. Bill Gazzari proclaimed in his East Coast accent, "All my bands got foxy guys in them. If you don't got foxy guys, they don't play on my stage." Gazzari's was where the really plastic glam metal could be found. Wrong slash. No, that's Flash with an F. And we definitely weren't trying to be foxy. The only time I'd ever been in there aside from this gig was to see Hollywood Rose back in the day. Anyway, Paul Stanley attended the show, and he actually bullied the sound engineer into allowing him to man the soundboard and control the mix. We didn't find out until later, but when we did, I cringed at the thought. Paul Stanley had mixed Guns N' Roses at Gazzari's? Really? How much more cliche could it get? I do remember that we got paid, because I remember counting and dividing our money and saying to Izzy, "I gotta go cop." That was all I cared about at the time, and that's what I did. I took off out there to meet up with my dealer friend. Dealer friends. Gotta love it. Gotta cop, man. Paul still wanted to win us over, so he insisted on coming to our next gig, which we knew once and for all would show him who we really were and what our producer needed to capture. It was a week later at Raji's, which was a total dive. Probably a 20 by 20 foot room that reeked of beer and piss with a PA that sounded like an outdated console permanently in the red. I got you for the next 20 minutes? Oh, okay, I will keep on reading. How's that sound? I think in Paul's mind, he was coming down to prove to us once and for all that he understood where we were coming from. He was going to hang out on our turf. Because, after all, he and Kiss had played dives back in the day. His intentions were good, but I can't help but think that pretty quickly he realized that where we were coming from was somewhere he hadn't seen in a long time. Guns was the type of snarling beast that thrived in pits like that. That show was fucking amazing. It was as dirty, muddy, shoddy, and teetering on chaos as Guns ever was in my mind. It was as honest and true as Guns N' Roses ever got, because I did that big hit of smack before we went on, which, mixed with the liquor I had already been drinking, made my stomach so rotten that I turned around and blow chunks over the back of my amps every 5 minutes. Whew. Well, good. You know, the doggo cam is important. Ain't that right, Roxy? That's fine. I don't care. Just tune in. I had a new guitar tech, Jason, who had to keep jumping out of the way to avoid getting coated. The overwhelming heat in there didn't help the situation much. The show was so rambunctious, the audience so full of unruly diehards, that Axel ended up getting into a fight with some guy in the front row. He might have smashed him in the head with the base of his mic stand. The whole show was a fucking riot. There was so much energy packed into that tiny little overheated box of a room, it was fucking awesome. There's a picture of that gig on the inside sleeve of Appetite for Destruction. Oh, ear picks? Okay, well then I should put on earmuffs, because, you know, I'm not going to share for free what I could charge money for. But here, just in case. Just whoop, pet the dog. Alright, anyways. I can't imagine where he stood during the show, but Paul Stanley materialized after the set with his blonde bombshell girlfriend/wife. Each of them in outfits that probably cost more than the market value of the entire building. There wasn't a dressing room at Raji's. There was a hallway between the side of the stage and the back door, with a small set of stairs where our entire band sat down after we were through playing. Right? Always shit on company time. This is a rule in life. Always shit on company time. Never. If you're paid hourly, then most definitely shit on company time. Because nobody else is going to pay you to poop. Well, some people might, but I wouldn't even know where to begin looking for those. OnlyFans. I don't know. Anyways. We were sweaty and gnarly, and after puking about 8 times on stage, I was doing my best not to lose it all over him as he said to me, with his Ivana Trump lady on his arm, well, that was interesting. The next day we made it official. I told Tom to let Paul know that we were going to continue our quest for a producer. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to say that not long afterward I retold this story to the LA Weekly with an excessive degree of attitude directed at Paul. I meant no harm. I was so enthusiastic about what we were doing that to me everyone who didn't get it was just wrong. I didn't even remember insulting Paul publicly and therefore had no qualms about calling him a month or two later to ask for a favor. We'd begun recording at that point, but I'd pawned my best guitars for dope, and I hoped that he would be able to hook me up with some studio-worthy gear via his sponsorship deal with BC Rich. Hey Paul, it's Slash, I said. It's been a while. How are you, man? I'm good, he said. Hey, listen, I know you've got that deal with BC Rich. Do you think you can get me some guitars? Yeah, I could. It wouldn't be a problem, he said, followed by silence. But I won't. Here's a piece of advice. You should be careful about airing your dirty laundry in public. Good luck to you. Click. AK-47 is good. Dial tone. It took a while, but in 2006 I got a chance to apologize. I mean, it could be the terms and conditions for owning a pickle. Owning pickle? Whatever that means, Spit. It took a while, but in 2006 I got the chance to apologize to Paul at VH1's Rock Honors show, where I was part of a tribute to Kiss along with Tommy Lee, Ace Frehley, and others. It was all okay. It was water under the bridge. Looking back on it, I see exactly why I behaved that way. I was arrogant back then. And when you're arrogant, regardless of who you are as a person, the fact that you're not a fan of someone's band is a legitimate enough reason to be a prick. True story. Kids, don't be a gatekeeper. With that being said, if you enjoy Beyonce, just know she's not the genius that everybody makes her out to be. If you enjoy it, and don't give a hoot about what you think. Oh, I'm here for the spiders. I don't know what Spit is here for. Support a friend, and to tell me that AK is good. We would practice every day. We wrote new songs, and we partied every night. As I mentioned before, smack was easy to find, so I wasn't keeping track of how often I did it. In my mind, it was strictly recreational. It wasn't supposed to be the center of the universe. The first time I realized that I had a problem was the first time that there wasn't any around. I didn't think too much of it. Ignorance is bliss. On that particular day, when it all caught up to me for the first time, Izzy and I decided to go to Tijuana with Robert John, the photographer and good friend who shot us since day one and became our official photographer on the road all the way through 1993. Anyway, it was a great day trip. We drank a few bottles of tequila, we wandered the streets, we watched drunk Americans be ripped off by whores in every dive bar and brothel shack on the strip. As the day wore on, I just thought I was tired and drunk and catching a cold. I had no idea of what was really going on in my body. What? You shut your whore mouth. We don't read trash. We don't read trash that killed 1% of the world's population in the last century. And it's not slowed down since. When we got back to LA, I remember I passed out immediately. I woke up later that night still feeling sick, so I figured that a few whiskeys at Barney's Beanery would cure me. I headed down there around 10 p.m., and after my first couple of drinks, I didn't feel any better. Actually, I felt worse. I went back to the apartment and assumed the air raid position. I got on my knees with my head between them and my hands on my head, simply because there was no other position that felt comfortable to me. I remember that night vividly because Mark Cantor popped up unexpectedly late that evening. He was as far removed from the junk scene as you could imagine. He eyeballed me curiously. You don't really look good, he said. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine, I said. I have the flu. The reality was that I was dope sick after just one day without heroin. It was hard for me to admit that to myself. As I lay alone, sweating in my bed that night, I was still unwilling to regard it as anything else but the worst flu I'd ever had. I cut down, I guess, but I continued on more or less the same path until the next time I was forced to face the fact that I had a habit. Closeted communist. Right? Thanks to the long arm of the law. I was cruising around with Danny one night looking for dope, and we managed to cop some shit, but it was very little. It was just a taste. We took it over to my friend Ron Schneider's place, my bass player and Titus Sloan, and we did it. Hung out and listened to Iron Maiden with Ron for a while, and then left to head home at about 4 a.m. We were coming up La Cienega when the blue and red lights went on behind us. When we slowed down and pulled over, we were literally right in front of our apartment, spitting distance from our door. These two cops were clearly out to fulfill their nightly or monthly quota because we weren't speeding or doing anything suspicious at all. We had nothing on us, but Danny had forgotten the needle that he had in the breast pocket of his shirt, which gave the cops carte blanche to do whatever they wanted. They started by shining their flashlights in our eyes. "You taking any drugs tonight, sir?" one of them asked me. "No," I said, squinting at him through my hair. "Are you sure about that? Looks to me like you have. Your pupils are pinned." "Yeah, that's because you're shining a flashlight in my eyes," I said. They weren't having any of it. They impounded Danny's car and arrested him for possession of paraphernalia. They cuffed me too, but wouldn't tell me on what charges, and it all came down within 10 feet of my front door. They stuffed Danny and me in the back of the patrol car and continued on with their unstated mission to bust every long-haired vagrant in sight on their way back to the station. Less than a mile down the street, they picked up Mike Levine, the bass player from Triumph, who was exiting a 7-Eleven and heading to his car with some beer under his arm, on the premise that he intended to drink and drive. They put him in the back with us and continued on. A bit further down on Santa Monica Boulevard, they busted a girl for public drunkenness, literally three blocks from the sheriff's office. The girl wasn't visibly drunk at all, and she was just walking down the street. Since there wasn't any more room in the car, one of the cops opted to walk her across the street to the station. Yeah, the Anti-Communist Manifesto was called the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, my friend. It's even got safeguards to keep that dumb shit from happening. But I digress. Where were we? They put all of us males in the same holding tank and we sat around the jail cell for a few hours. Mike Levine got bailed out, and after Danny had sat around long enough, they let him go too. He was booked for having the needle and was given a court date. And all of that. I was the only one left, and since I thought that I hadn't done anything, I figured I'd get out any minute now. It was Saturday by then, about 8 a.m., and as the hours stretched on, I tried, unsuccessfully, to get the guard's attention to ask why I was still being held. The only answer I got was being shuffled from the small cell of the night before to a larger cell with high ceilings, a rubber mat on the floor, one common toilet in the corner, a lot of inmates, and the rank smell of piss. I had no idea of what was coming next. My high had started to wear off. I was a few hours away from complete withdrawal. After a while, we were loaded into one of those horrible black and white transformed school buses with gates on the windows. I was shackled at the ankles and wrists and chained to the guy in front of me. I still had no idea why I was there, but I realized I was going to the county jail, so I immediately started chewing off my black nail polish. There was no way in hell that I was going to county with fingernail polish on. Good point, Slash, but the long hair doesn't help. Oh! Man, I haven't really had a drink since last week Tuesday. I mean, I've had a couple sips, but... penis. Oh. Whiskey. Well, thank you. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. You have a good night, and may fortune something, blah, blah, blah. Peace? Peace? I don't know. It took hours to get there because the bus stop made stops at several jails along the way to pick up more people. All while I got sicker and sicker. At each jail, we were loaded off into another group holding cell to wait while the new additions were processed. The jail itself was about 20 miles away, but getting there with all those stops and red tape took all day. We hit about 6 jails and finally got to county in the late afternoon. The process was no less endless when we finally arrived. They logged in my belongings, and put me in a series of holding rooms with the other new inmates until my paperwork was complete. It was the most tedious bureaucracy I'd ever seen in my life, and it didn't help that I was genuinely dope sick during it all. Up until then, I knew about being dope sick in the abstract sense. I had heard stories, but even after I'd experienced a bit of it that day in Tijuana, I regarded it with the same carefree bravado that had gotten me hooked in the first place. Faced with the reality of being dope sick, I figured that the best way to avoid it was to always know where to get more junk. It hadn't been a problem in Hollywood, but being locked up in the county jail for a few days with no access to heroin was something else entirely. It was a forced detox in the worst possible setting. I was housed in one of those big old-fashioned rooms with a few rows of cots, where I sweated it out, nauseous, sick, and exhausted. I'm not sure exactly how long I was there altogether. I suppose close to 3 days. Then all of a sudden they let me out again with no explanation, and I had to go through the whole fucking entrance process in reverse. Axel had put up the bail and had Denny pick me up. But I didn't know that as I made my way through the exit procedure in my little jumpsuit, waiting in long lines, sitting in a series of rooms, sweating and coughing and sniveling and fidgeting, smelling really bad, and looking and feeling fucking miserable. When they handed me my clothes and belongings, I was finally informed why I was there. I'd been hauled in for a 6-year-old jaywalking ticket. There had been a warrant out for me after I'd not shown up in court or paid the fine. Of all the things I've done, I got busted for jaywalking. Well, at least I did my time and paid my debt to society. I walked around outside of county, bumming cigarettes for about an hour, wondering who had bailed me out, until Danny suddenly showed up. We then drove straight down to Melrose and Western to cop. I got back to the apartment. Axel was sleeping, so were Steven and Izzy, and Duff wasn't around. I got high, took a shower, and when those guys woke up, I realized they hadn't even noticed that I'd been gone for a while. I wasn't expecting much, but it would have been nice to get some degree of fanfare. When I found out later that Axel was the one who scraped together the bail money, I was touched. That was pretty cool of him. Oh, such a dude, Slash. Yeah, it's alright. Thanks for getting me out of jail. We had to lie to my stepmom about who posted my bail. Waffles. Let's not worry about my record, and let's worry about Slash's record. Stop judging me, you guys. But I mean, you got to get Hep C somehow, right? No Hep C here. Gross. Hope everybody's having a wonderful night, as I am having you guys as company. So, with that being said, I'm going to continue on reading. I don't know what that was. Sorry. Don't leave me. I've got abandonment issues. Airsoft. That's just a t-shirt I cut off the streams on. What up? Chupa Chup! I'm reading Slash. Not Flash. Cheetah made that mistake earlier. I'm reading Slash. So, the voice I'm doing should be more like this, but, it's what... Oh, she even did the... He's the savior of the universe! But no. Anyways. Right, Slash! Yeah, the guy from Guitar Hero 3. Okay, maybe Guns N' Roses guitarist. Slash's Snake Pit. Velvet Revolver. You might have heard of some of those guys. No? Okay, well, that's fine. He's the guy with the long hair and the top hat that's always got that orange and yellow Les Paul. Yeah, that sunburst Les Paul. Now, there's a switch on it to make it more Paul, and then there's a switch that goes the other way, it makes it less Paul. Anyways. Penis. Top hat. There you go, top hat guy. You know Slash. Stop playing. Fuck him. And then we'll pet the dog with the foot. Pet the dog with the foot. Anyways. Despite our lifestyle and its unconventional set of priorities, we did get a lot of things done in that apartment. We wrote an acoustic version of You're Crazy that ended up as an electric version on Appetite, and it's an original form on Lies. We worked that one up at Dean Chamberlain's, giving it that edge by speeding it up about 20 beats per minute from its original state. Axel, Izzy, and I had some really great creative times in that apartment. But regardless, our advance both collectively and individually had dwindled. So our quest for a manager was suddenly important. We had lost our lease, and two of us had more or less devolved into everyday junkies that needed somewhere to live. Oh my god, did you see that meme where the girl was like, I need a guy like this, and it was an old black and white picture of Axel, and he's like, hey, and she's like, ew, not you. He's like, bitch, that's me. Anyways, it's a funny meme. I don't know if it's real or if it's made up, but yeah, he still got it. Oh my god, it's only been 35 minutes. I'm done already. Fuck. Now I'm gonna keep on reading, but just the whiskey. It's probably the lack of sleep. But we're good. That grilled cheese goes a long way, huh? Huh, Roxy? Right? Okay. I'm glad she agrees. We appreciate your support. Tom Zutaut introduced us to Arnold Stiefel, a manager whose biggest clients at the time were Rod Stewart, whom I believe he still handles, and the actor Matthew Broderick, who was about to become a huge star off the back of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That didn't impress us any. But after a few great meetings with Arnold and his partners, somehow we walked away with the most ideal situation imaginable. They hadn't signed us outright, but they agreed to put us up in a house until we found a producer and made an album. At which point they decided if they wanted to sign on as our managers. I had no idea what kind of deal Tom made with them to make that happen, but this was the perfect short-term fix. They were willing to let us evolve on their tab. It's really nice of them. I felt sorry for Tom by then. We were this self-destructive mutation of a band that he'd had the utmost confidence in, and we were paying him back by showing no promise of ever getting it together. To us, it seemed funny that none of the producers or managers seemed to fit to do the job, but Tom was very aware that we were slowly but surely narrowing the interest gap between everyone in the industry and no one at all. I'm sure he was panicked after 2 years that he might lose his job if he didn't make it work. The only good thing that Tom, as an A&R man, got out of this was that when he picked us up and signed us, we had a couple of really good songs, but this period of time allowed us to write a bunch of more really good songs. Maybe in the back of his mind, there was a method to Tom's madness. But he knew that we needed this time and did everything he could to make it happen, because in the end, he got the good stuff out of us. It was never stated as his intent, but I'm sure he looked at the bright side that way. This band took up so much of his time from the moment we were signed, to the time we got our record done and got out on the road, that must have driven him insane. There was nothing that he could do to mold us or move the process along at all, because anything he tried failed. The band's overall attitude and extracurricular activities opposed the right direction at every turn. It happens. Whoopsie. Out of desperation, Tom did manage to get us into the studio with Manny Charlton, the guitarist of Nazareth, at Sound City Studios on Whitsett and Moore Park out in the valley. We worked on demos of November Rain, which was 18 minutes long in its original version, so needless to say, we really needed to sit down and focus on arranging it. We also worked on Don't Cry, and almost every song that made it into Appetite except Sweet Child of Mine, because we hadn't written that one yet. It was a great day in any case, hanging out in the studio, recording everything live in this great big room. Unfortunately, Manny didn't feel right. The demos sounded great, but they were just that, a great bunch of demo tapes. We knew enough about ourselves to know it wasn't okay. Shortly afterward, we moved into the Stiefel house, as we came to call it, a brand new home in a gated community called Laughlin Park, out in Griffith Park, near the observatory, the Greek Theater, and the LA Zoo. It was way out in East Hollywood, about a 20-minute drive from where we used to live. That doesn't seem like much, but since none of us had cars, this became the most unsocial period we knew ever. We were stuck out there in a new house, in a new complex, in the woods. There were 2 bedrooms upstairs. One was Axel's and one was Steven's and Izzy. One was Axel's and one was Steven's, and Izzy and I shared a bedroom downstairs. Due to our shared interests. We lived there for 4 or 5 months. but had little furniture to speak of. We had beds, one table, a couple of chairs in the entire house. Axel somehow managed to conjure up a proper bed, a lamp, a dresser from somewhere. His room was a well-equipped oasis guarded by a padlock. The rest of the place was basically empty. The lighting situation was equally meager. There was one lamp in Izzy's and my room, and an overhead light in the dining room, and no lights in the living room or above the stairs or in any of the hallways. The entire time we lived there, it looked as if someone was about to move in. With the exception of the last couple of years, I've been living pretty Spartan. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even have a bed. I just slept on a couch. But, when I did get a place, I still have the bed that I bought after I got the couch, but it's got no headboard. It's literally got a frame that keeps it off the ground, a box spring, and a mattress, and just, yeah, what up, B-Rat? We did have a fireplace, and since we never bothered to buy lamps, once the sun went down, we lit fires and generally restricted ourselves to the living room or the kitchen, which also had an overhead light. We were so out of our element. For once, we were living in a neighborhood where household items weren't available for free on the street and other people's trash. The upside was that we were in such a far-off residential area that we didn't feel like playing acoustics. We could jam all night on our electric guitars, and if we'd owned practice amps, we probably would have. You got a top hat for me? I mean, I would. But I don't even have anything that resembles a top hat. Hold on. I mean, I can make it look like I fall down a lot and sniff glue. We could do that. Stay. Ow. Stay. I said stay. I'm coming right back. Where are you going? But. Thank you, bitch. Go lay down. I mean, it's got girls on it, and the vinyl skull in the front's kind of falling apart. Then we got this really cool negative Punisher skull in flames. Jennifer cut this for me.
Motherfucker.
Is that good? It's terrible, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm taking it off. I fall down a lot. Oh, do you ride a motorcycle? No, I fall down a lot. I also enjoy having heat stroke.
Run.
Oh my goodness. What? Oh, okay. Well, hello, motherfucker, to you too. Let's get back to the book, shall we? Or unless are we taking a break? No, it's only been 35 minutes. Which was 10 minutes ago. Which means it's time for a break. No, it's not time for a break. What do you think, dog? Is it time for a break? She don't give a shit. Look how chill she is. Wait, hold on. You pet the dog. We pet the dog. We give her head some scritchy scratch. Time to pet the dog. Okay, anyways. I hope everybody's having a wonderful night. I am having a time trying to read this right now because that whiskey is kicking in, son. See, Brian, you think I drink every day because you only see me once a week and it just happens to be on books and bourbon. This is the only day I drink? How long do I have that dog? I am drinking Knob Creek right now. I mean, what whiskey? The whiskey I'm drinking. With my big old steel balls. How long am I supposed to have the dog? That is a very good question, my friend. Miss Champion, are you here? You'd let him know. How long am I going to have the dog for? She'll tell you. I have no idea. The situation currently is fluid. Maybe I'll call you up after the stream if you're still up. Maybe. Maybe I won't. I don't know nothing. I'm just She's a very sweet girl who doesn't eat her ass on camera, Roxy. I said, no, ma'am. You can go off camera to do that, but not on camera, Mama. Not on camera. No nitpicking. You ain't got no nits. You got the good stuff. Canine Advantix 2. That does the all. She's like, I can't do nothing, man. This is bullshit. You okay? You good? Yeah? You stay. Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'll pet you a little bit, but people can't see me petting you. They just think, I don't know what they think. Hey. Yeah, it's big stretch. You're gonna knock over my whiskey. Did you? Yeah, man. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Little Miss Saggy Nips. Little Miss Saggy Nips. I'm not owning a dog. I am caring for a dog. In the state of California, you cannot be a pet owner. You can be a pet guardian, though. I am enjoying Roxy's company, though. To answer your question after not answering it, yeah, she's a pretty good girl. She kind of listens, and she's super sweet. She tolerates me. I tolerate her. We get along fine. I make sure she has food and water, pets, and a place to stay. And everything else seems aight. For now. That's where we're at on that page. That's right. Sometimes it takes a minute to rebuild. I'm making... Egyévet. I lived in Hungary for 1 year. Az 94-ben volt. I was in 94. Mentem a Brody Imre gimnáziumba, ami az most nincs többet. I went to Brody Imre Lyceum for a year. Back in 94. It was a private school. I went to a private school. Művésziskola volt. It was an art school. As if someone was about to move in. We did have a fireplace, and since we never bothered to buy lamps, once the sun went blah blah blah, we already read that part, okay. Nem, hát mondtam, 5 évesen tanultam magyarul beszélni. I learned to, wow, it's Gesundheit, which is Gesundheit. But you know what? That's like the bone apple teeth. You know, it's fine. It's close enough. I knew what you were trying to say. So, 10-4. Oh my goodness, bone apple teeth to you too! Numero 1. Nummer 1. Numero 1. I don't know how to say number in Japanese, but ich. Anyways. The drug lifestyle was a dominant reality in our lives, and it played a major role in everything we did at that point. Once it showed signs of wear, there was definitely light at the end of the tunnel, whether we liked it or not. It was obvious to us all that the free and easy, overindulgent smack days we'd enjoyed in West Hollywood were done. We'd run out of money, most of the shit on the street had gone dry, and because of our new address, we were at the mercy of the only drug dealer willing to travel. It was not good at all. Unfortunately, we were in no shape to just up and quit and forget about it. We were forced to be conscientious and frugal as we strove to scale ourselves back. When we did score, Izzy and I wrote a lot back then. Heroin was a great catalyst for us. I thought it was the coolest of all drugs because it made me feel really at ease with everything and melted away my inhibitions and insecurities. On Smack, I was cool and confident, so collaborating was easy. As soon as we'd get high, Izzy and I would start jamming and working out ideas. Just trading riffs and chords back and forth. Something always seemed to come out of it naturally. It seemed so inspired. To be fair, I did karaoke on... Was it Friday night? Yes. Friday night I did karaoke, and I did... No, Saturday night I did karaoke. Went to karaoke Friday night, but I didn't sing anything. Saturday night I did Mr. Brownstone, And that's about heroin. So heroin. Good times. Good times. We've been dancing with Mr. Brownstone. Yeah, that's heroin. And so is Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones. I'm sure there's tons of other heroin songs, but those are the two main ones that pop into my mind when I think about stuff. And that and any song from the original 2 soundtracks for Trainspotting. All those songs are heroin songs. They're not about heroin, but you know, they're all heroin to me. I have a way of sitting down with the guitar and coming up with these hard-to-play riffs. They're unorthodox fingerings of simple melodies. It's my way of getting into playing or finding something interesting to do, as opposed to just practicing scales. To this day, I still do it. Rather than doing obvious exercises, I invent runs of my own design that both loosen up fingers and my ears engaged, keep my ears engaged. Because if practicing doesn't sound good, then why bother with it at all? That is what I was doing one night as Izzy sat down on the floor to join me. "Hey, what is that?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "Just fucking around." "Keep doing it." He came up with some chords, and since Duff was there, he came up with a bass line as Steven planned out his drum beat. Within an hour, my little guitar exercise had become something else. Axel didn't leave his room that night, but he was just as much of a part of the creative process as the rest of us. He sat up there and listened to everything we were doing and was inspired to write lyrics that were complete by the next afternoon. They became an ode to his girlfriend and future first wife, Erin Everly, daughter of Don Everly of the Everly Brothers. We'd found a rehearsal studio in Burbank called Burbank Studios, which was nothing more than a big warehouse owned by this old Asian couple, which is where we really started to work on the pre-production for Appetite, perfecting the songs we'd already demoed. At our next session, we worked our new song into a complete movement. We wrote a bridge, added a guitar solo, and so it became Sweet Child of Mine. That was all fine and well, but we still didn't have a producer. Tom came up with the idea to try out Spencer Proffer, who'd worked with Tina Turner, Quiet Riot, and Wasp, who Axel liked a lot back in the day, so we went for it. We took our gear down to Pasha Studios, which is where Spencer operated out of at the time, and agreed to work on Sweet Child together as a test. Spencer was a great guy. He was actually the one who suggested that the song needed a dramatic breakdown before its ultimate finale. He was right, but we had no idea what he wanted to do there. All of us sat around the control room, listening to it over and over, devoid of a clue. "Where do we go?" Axel said, more to himself than the rest of us. "Where do we go now? Where do we go?" "Hey," Spencer said, turning the music down. "Why don't you just try singing that?" And so became that dramatic breakdown. We worked up a solid demo of Sweet Child and worked with Spencer on demos for about half the tunes on Appetite, but by the end of the process, we just didn't feel confident that he was a producer for us, so our quest continued. Gesundheit. Gesundheit. It's to your health. That's what that means. Which is what they say for God bless you, you know. But anyways, we all know the context in which it's used, but not all of us probably knew the meaning of the word. Now you do. And yes, my brain is full of really useless information. It's useless. Crack it open. Yeah, there's a ton of information there, but very, very little of it can be used in a productive manner. So, that's why my head's so big. I don't even know what that means. Like, it translates to, you know, the head is big, you know, may the horse be sad or some shit. I don't know. It's just a very Hungarian expression. It wasn't looking good. I'm sure Tom was at his wit's end, but right at the breaking point, we found a manager. Technically, we were supposed to be managed by Stiefel and Company, whose house we were living in, but since neither Tom nor we had any interaction with them, we continued to take meetings with potential managers. The one that stuck to the wall, so to speak, was Alan Niven, a guy who knew right away what he was walking into by working with us. Izzy and I met Alan at a bar, and I could barely keep my eyes open sitting there on my stool, but that didn't seem to bother Alan at all. From the start, he thrived on the reckless energy of our band, and was excited to get over the initial hump that had stalled us on our way to recording and touring and becoming a professional entity. I was very jaded, and, as I mentioned, I was very paranoid about anyone who aimed to get inside of our circle. But I respected Alan before I even met him. He was the architect behind the Sex Pistols signing with EMI, so I knew that he had skills. He was a charming, raffish New Zealander who took to Izzy right off the bat and knew that we were worth the effort. Alan didn't try to exert his will in the creative arena. He left that to us. He just did what he did best. Marketing and management. That was his forte. Alan met everyone while we were still working with Spencer down at Pasha and listened to all the demos we'd done and decided that we should take those takes, add a live soundtrack, live audience track, and release it all as a live EP. He thought it was essential for us to get some product out while we still had a strong buzz in the industry. It would keep the excitement alive while we recorded our full-length album. We came up with the idea of releasing the EP on our own label, which we insisted was financed by Geffen. It would appear to be a live EP on an indie label, but in truth, it wouldn't be either. We called the label Uzi Suicide and the EP Live Like a Suicide. It was untouched demos of 4 songs we'd been playing since our first rehearsal. Aerosmith's Mama Kin, Rose Tattoo's Nice Boys, and 2 of our own, Moved to the City and Reckless Life. They're raw, I guess, but if you ask me, they still sound pretty fucking good. Playing the Troubadour, circa 1986. Look, picture! Picture! Okay. Pictures of you. So now we had a manager, now we had half an album of live tracks, and Sutat was happy. He believed the EP would attract eligible producers. It definitely got us noticed. Well, good for you, Nate! Happy anniversary? I remembered leaving Alan's house in Redondo Beach with Duff and hearing Move to the City based on K-Neck, this great heavy metal station out of Long Beach. The EP was a clear indication of our aesthetic, not to mention our lifestyle, and it had always been. There weren't too many easy-to-find, like-minded souls. To say the least, it took a few dry runs to find the right guy. Oh no, one of my balls is almost fully exposed. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Beautiful. Ugh. I need more tattoos, guys. Let's get Psycho another tattoo fund. I could really use a new tattoo. I hardly have any, so I need more. It'll be my birthday and Christmas present. I need more ink. Need is a strong word, but I would like very much so to have more ink. Anyways, let's continue, shall we? It was agreed that playing a few gigs would keep us visible and keep us from losing momentum. I, for one, knew that if there wasn't any concrete work commitment on the horizon, it was likely that I'd treat every day like a vacation. We went back up to San Francisco to open for Jet Boy at the Stone, followed by a gig 2 nights later following the opening for Ted Nugent at the Santa Monica Civic Center. At the time, we were still living at the Stiefel House officially, though once we chose Alan as our manager, we began to vacate in anticipation of letting Stiefel know the bad news. Axel moved back to Aaron's. I don't know where Steven was staying, and Duff was where he'd always been. So Izzy and I became the only full-time residents living in the comfortable squalor in the downstairs back bedroom. It was a gypsy-like scene. Our friend Danny crashed there much of the time, too, amid the sparsely appointed rooms. Finding dope in LA had become difficult suddenly, so Danny and I scoured the streets regularly looking to score. One of those nights, we got lucky and managed to pick up a sizable amount. We were elated. We drove back to the house and stashed it all in a gun-shaped lighter of mine. Gun-shaped lighter of mine. Something like that. We hid it in my drawer because next morning we were off to San Francisco. I saw no reason to bring any along because in San Francisco I'd never had a problem scoring top-grade China White. Ha! Ha! Right? Oh my goodness. No, he didn't get... If he got 86th, we wouldn't have Nate. That's a cancel all else kind of thing. I'm sure you're about to go to Google and freaking post 4 paragraphs of what the actual origins of the term 86th is, but you don't have to. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not a challenge. Please don't do it. Waffles. We packed all the gear in the van we'd rented. Dan and Izzy and I drove up in Danny's car, and when we got there, Izzy and I went straight to someone's apartment where we planned to score our shit. The dealer didn't get there before the show, so we went up and did the gig, which was a blur because all I could think about was getting my smack afterward. The rest of the band packed up, Danny included, and headed to LA, while Izzy and I offered to drive Danny's car back ourselves because we wanted to score. We went back to the apartment and waited around for the shit to show up. We waited. Nothing! At that point, we were getting jumpy. And when the dealer finally showed up, it was crap. Just useless. We looked at each other, both realizing that we were a fuck of a long way from home, and we didn't have much time before we turned into pumpkins. It was well into the next morning when we hit the road, but we knew that at the very least, I had a bunch of shit stashed back at the house. All was well. We were making good time until we ran out of gas. We lost a good hour there with hitchhiking to the gas station and back. We lost a good hour there. So once we got on our way again, speeding up to make up for lost time, as the itchiness stalked us, we got a flat tire. Fuck. Changing a tire is never fun, but when your internal clock is counting down the seconds to your demise, it's something else altogether. We finally got home that night, thinking that we were cool and all was well. There's a dope camaraderie that kicks in between junkies who are about to get high together, and as Izzy and I headed into the house, we were the greatest friends, just as tight as can be, all arm in arm and laughing about everything we'd just been through getting there. We went into my room, I opened up my stash drawer and discovered that all my shit was gone. Then I called Danny. "Hey," I said, "didn't I stash my shit in my lighter?" "Yeah," he said innocently, "it's gone. No way. I can't find it. That really sucks. Get over here and help me." Izzy and Danny and I proceeded to tear the bedroom apart, then the rest of the house. I knew that I'd put it in there, and I knew that Danny was the only one there with me when I did, but I was willing to give him benefit of the doubt. Why would you do that? You guys are a bunch of fucking junkie smackids. Huh. Not you guys. I'm kind of pointing at the guys in the book, but it wouldn't make any sense if I did this, but maybe it would. I don't know. Shh. Don't judge me. Are you guys judging me? I think you're judging me. Ah, man. You know what Danny said after we'd exhausted every possible stash spot? He shook his head. I hit it. I hit it when I was high. I'm going to try to remember where. Let me think. Oh, God. Oh, I'm just trying to, man. Like, I would be mad if somebody hid my snacks. I don't have snacks because I have impulse control issues. And great sadness. But if somebody hid my Doritos, I'd be losing my shit. So I couldn't imagine what it's like to have something that gives you actual physical withdrawal of extreme sickness. But anyways. After Danny thought about it long and hard, he came up with a few corners we hadn't checked. A few wild goose chases. Then he went home again, leaving Izzy and me with the impossible task of trying to hook up with Sammy, our Persian dealer, our only dealer at the time. It was not looking good. We beeped Sammy every 10 minutes, and he never called back. The next morning, Izzy's friend Desi came over, and she could tell that the situation was dire. We'd been up all night. We'd driven from San Francisco. We'd been paging dealers unsuccessfully all day. We had to open for Ted Nugent in a few hours. Izzy and I were tripping out. Nothing was happening. We had no one else to call. And we were wrecked. We were starting to Jones pretty hard. We were like vampires out of Blackula, just rolling around on the ground and going to the bathroom to puke every 5 minutes. Our show with Ted Nugent was all the way down in Santa Monica at 7:30 p.m. Sammy was not calling us back, so we had to figure out how we were going to get something in our system, anything at all, to make us human enough to make the show. We were in no condition to perform, let alone even drive ourselves to the gig. In desperation, Desi called her friend Melissa, who lived up in Hollywood in Izzy's old apartment. She had heard from Sammy, who was going to meet him shortly. Man, these poor guys, they can't perform because they don't have their heroin. I feel so bad for them. Waffles. Oh. That was enough to motivate us. We drove over there somehow and hung out waiting for Melissa to return with our drugs. It looked like we might have taken care of one problem, but at the same time it was around 5 p.m. and we were about an hour from the gig. Finally she returned. Izzy and I got our shit. We did all that, and what a relief that was. Fuck! We were once again functional. We had barely enough time to join our band, who were waiting for us so that we could play our first arena to a sold-out crowd of 3,000. I ain't gonna teach nobody nothing, man. That's at least 3 to 4 years down the line. I mean, good lord, man. I mean, I can give it a crack. I can give it that old college try. But, I mean, Lord willing, I'll be there. I'll do what I can. But either way, it's my coffin right here. I bought it. Make it nice and black. Anyways. We hightailed it over there. We had no artists or parking lot passes on us. And after the night we'd had, we looked at like scabs off the street. Probably. We left Desi to park the car and climb the fence at the back of the arena for lack of a better plan. In the process, I got caught on the chain links at the button of my jeans popped off, so I spent the rest of the night making sure my zipper didn't go all the way down, leaving me hanging out there, because I've never been the type to wear underwear. Izzy and I somehow snuck into the loading area and made it up to the backstage area, and as we started down the hallway, toward the stage, I saw Gene Simmons. He was standing at the other end, giving us a foreboding stare, which is something he is very good at doing. I had no idea why he was there, but it added to the surreal quality of the last 24 hours. Izzy and I got to the dressing room with less than 10 minutes to spare. The guys may have been annoyed at first, but they were soon relieved. Disaster averted. We took one look in the mirror and headed to the stage. That was the first time we ever played Sweet Child of Mine live. I hadn't at all mastered the signature riff to the degree that I could execute it on a whim, but I pulled it off anyway, and the band as a whole played it really well. The whole set was good. We had a collection of friends there. Yvonne, Mark Cantor, and a few more of my normal friends. Even better, right after we got off stage, Izzy got beeped back from Sammy, who was going to meet us at the Stiefel House. Yvonne and her friends were backstage, and at the time, she and I were together again, and the whole intervention incident was bygones. She didn't know exactly where I was in terms of drugs, and I didn't feel the need to tell her. It's a funny thing, his girlfriend Yvonne knew that he was using the heroin, and so she actually staged an intervention and got his parents into the same room, and instead of it being an intervention, it became a family reunion because the two hadn't been together pretty much since they divorced, and it had been like the better part of a hot minute, so to speak. I don't remember the exact amount of time they were apart for, but I'm just like, wow, this is kind of funny. She came out of a loving and good place, and it still did good, but it didn't achieve the purpose that she intended. That's Team Petty for you. Anyways, Waffles. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody I want to see that badly. I mean, there's one person I could think of, but waffles. Oh. Mm-hmm. She was just there, being a supportive girlfriend, cheering her boyfriend on at his first big gig in a live arena. All things considered, she was letting me do my thing. Of course, she wanted to celebrate afterward, which was a problem. I couldn't wait to get out of there and get home to do drugs. But I didn't want her to know, so I tried to tell her that I'd call her after we'd meet up. After we dropped off our guitars, but she wasn't having it. She and her friends were going to meet us up at the house. Oh, shit. Izzy and Danny and I couldn't think of a better way to celebrate our show than with some smack, so we flew back toward Griffith Park to score. It was so early that it wasn't even dark out yet, so as we cruised up Fairfax and stopped for a red light at Fountain, it was easy to see our dealer Sammy's car in the lane beside us. It added to the elated epic mood of the day and cut Sammy's commute in half. At this point, I felt like I stood a chance of getting high at the house before Yvonne arrived. 1989 is number one. Very nice. I don't know where that came from, sorry. We scored from Sammy, sped up to the house, and ran inside like lunatics. Izzy ducked into our room and slammed the door, and I locked myself in Steven's bathroom, which was lit by a red bulb he'd installed. I was in there trying to navigate my fix, all while shaking and huffing and puffing from nerves in this unnatural red light, when suddenly there's a knock at the door. Hey, babe, Yvonne said. Are you in there? Oh, yeah, I am, I said. Yes, I am, but I'm taking a shower. I'm all sweaty from the show. Then I turned on the water. Let me in, babe, she said. I'm in the shower, I said. I'll be right out. Bro, sus. I finished what I needed to do, threw some water on myself, and I went outside. I'm pretty sure she knew about it. Yvonne didn't want to stay over at our house. I can't imagine why. So I agreed to go back to her place with her. And that was the night that I decided to fuck it. I'll just kick. I'd fixed in the early evening, so it wore off at about 1 a.m. And for the next few days, I did a cold turkey there in Yvonne's bed. It wasn't the last time I'd do so before we got it all together to record Appetite, but each time I did, I never told her what was really going on. I acted like I had the flu and played down how horrible I felt. Yvonne was busy. She was in school, so most of those days I was on my own in bed in hell. The truth was, she was happy enough that when she left, I was there, and when she came back, I was there, even if I was just a shadow of myself on my back in her bed. I kicked at Yvonne's that time for a whole week, and despite the potential fiasco surrounding the gig, no one knew about it for better or for worse. Everyone in the band was on such a high after that show. I only regret that I didn't meet Ted Nugent that night, because he'd been such a huge influence on me when I was young. Danny eventually admitted to Izzy that he'd done all of that dope I'd stashed, and I've never forgiven him for it. It was a cold-blooded thing to do that nearly ruined Izzy and me in the eyes of our bandmates. If it had all gone wrong, it would have caused our band untold professional embarrassment at a very crucial point for us, but that's the thing about smack. It's the devil. It's so alluring and seductive that it turns you into a dishonest, backstabbing demon. Being a junkie is akin to what we imagine vampires are. It has an enticing aura at first, but it becomes hunger that must be fed at all costs. It completely takes over and reels you in. It starts with a taste here and a taste there, and then you're doing it all the time. You think it's your choice, but it's not that way. Soon, you need to do it all the time. Then you're hooked into a really vicious cycle before you're even aware that you've become just another statistic. Alright, on that note, I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, because 1989 apparently is the best. You never specified why 1989 was a good year, but it was a pretty alright year. Or actually, what happened in 1989? Metallica's Justice came out. One of the greatest freaking thrash albums of all time. What else? Was it 89 or was it 80? I think it was 89. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Say hi to everybody. You get doggo cam. You want to get on my cam? Oh, she won't let me pick her up. I'm trying to scoop her up. Come here. She's like, this is weird. I don't know what to do. She's like, nope. Okay. Okay. Have it your way. You get to stay inside. You see where that attitude got you? You get to stay inside. I don't know if she's happy about that. I can't tell. She seems uninterested. Well, I don't feel like putting your collar and lead on. How's that? And it's wet outside, and you're gonna roll around if I don't have you on a leash. Don't you sigh at me. Look at her sighing at me. She's got that fucking attitude. You got your mama's attitude. Attitude. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. Cinco. No, don't follow me now. You had your chance. Be back in a minute.
Here I come. Haha.
Hey! Now listen here, mister. I don't mean no trouble.
Go back into your own console.
But sir, I doesn't even have my own console. We're multi-platform now.
Knuckles? It must be a Mario. He takes racing too seriously.
He takes everything too seriously.
You motherfuckers invite non-Nintendo characters onto my track?
Oh, this is auto racing.
Holy shit! He's killing all the non-Nintendo racers.
What is he? Some kind of racist?
You're not Nintendo. You're Pretendo. You're all race traitors! Oh, God! Ah! I'm fucking going to my head! Ah! 23 years of jumping barrels. 23 fucking years! Oh God! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Luigi!
Coming for you, nigga.
Wait, Mario, think of our history.
So, you like it to go fast, huh?
All right, I caught it. Now it's mine, and I can force it to do whatever I want.
Mario, stop! We're brothers! I have no brother.
Mario!
Oh shit, it's Kratos! Fuck you, Kratos! You PlayStation characters never learn! Suck my mushroom tip, you fucking son of a pig! Oh, hey Mario! Nintendo!
Oh!
Flash kids.
I'm sorry, boy. Oh, come on. Don't do the dance. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Man, I just love noodles.
Not as much as me, dude. Not as much as me.
Oh yeah? I bet I love them even more.
Okay then, how much do you love noodles?
This much. And I will always love noodles. Yeah, I'll always love noodles. Yeah, I'll always love you. So how much do you love noodles? Oh my God!
Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel P.T. Chester Whitmore is proud to present Bongo Chungo and the Zimbabwe Songbirds.
Do you see Banana Man hopping over on the white hot sand? Here he come with some for me, freshly taken from.
Oh, so the break's over. Oh, we lost 3 people in that time. Cool. I wonder what 3 they are. They didn't even say bye. Rude as heckin' heck. Oh no. The whole point of doing that was to correct the thing. And we made it worse. Okay, that's a little better. You know what to do. I didn't even need to tell you. See, that's what I'm talking about. She's a very good girl. Oh, blah, blah. So I just didn't feel like taking a full 5-minute break. I only had half a schmiggy schmag, so. Fancy bars. Oh, fancy bars. Anyways, where the hell were we? We were reading a book. That's what we were doing. Oh. Ha! I got thumbs up. He had his own stream to do, I'm sure. And that's fine. Can't really do the thing when I'm doing the thing. Oh yeah, musica. You right. Of course you disappeared. Why would you? Number B. In true Guns fashion, I don't think we ever really formally introduced Stiefel and company that we weren't going to sign with them. We just deserted the house, leaving a sea of trash and property damage in our wake that Tom Zutaut had to deal with. Ellen was our manager, and that was that. Releasing the Live Like a Suicide EP afforded a small advance, so Izzy and Steven rented a small apartment just south of Sunset, right near the Rock and Roll Ralph's, the supermarket in West Hollywood where every local musician buys beer and whatever else they subsist on. Duff was where he always was, living with Katerina, and Axel lived with Aaron. I was the only blatantly vagrant member of the band, shacking up with Yvonne or other girls crashing on whichever floor I found at the end of the night. At this point in time, there are many strippers in our midst. All I can say is God bless them all. Many a band before and after us have had this connection. Strippers who hang out together are virtually like a band themselves, and we related to one another. They were generous and thought we were cute or dark, mysterious musicians or just lost puppies that they had to tend and tend to and found attractive. And maybe they felt protected around us too. The fact that they usually had this uninhibited sexual energy didn't hurt. All in all, they were entirely appropriate for guys like myself. There is one named Christina who had a roommate, and if I'd shack up with either one of them on any given night, I lived there for a while and would sleep in one or the other's room, or with both of them depending on how things went. Those girls lived down the street from Izzy and Steven in an apartment building full of strippers on La Cienega. I was hooked up over there, you could say, and called that place home as the band proceeded through another waiting period, which as usual spelled nothing but trouble. Steven, Izzy, and I had a lot of fun over at Christina's. Dope was more readily available now that we were all back in Hollywood, though still nowhere near as plentiful as it had been when we'd lived there last. After I got clean, I thought I did my best to stay off of it. I remember one night I was hanging out with Axel and Izzy over at the stripper house and trying my best to abstain. I didn't have any money on me that night. Dope was scarce enough that it could be found, but not easily enough that people were willing to share for free. I thought I could just hang out and do it, and not do it, but I couldn't. I had to get out of there. Not long after that, I was back on it. It was no use. I crashed wherever I could and did whatever came to mind, and there was a point when I hooked up with Dave Mustaine of Megadeth. We became best friends. He was strung out on smack and crack, and he lived in the same neighborhood, so we hung out and wrote songs. He was a true complete fucking maniac and a genius riff writer. We'd hang out, smoke crack, and come up with major heavy riffs, just fucking dark and heavy as hell. Sometimes Dave Ellefson would join us. We got along great. He wrote some great shit. It got to the point in our drug-fueled creative zone that we started seriously entertaining the idea of my joining Megadeth. Guns was in a holding pattern after all, and I was high enough to consider all kinds of bad decisions. Dave Mustaine is still one of the most genius musicians I have ever jammed with, but still, in many of my hearts, I knew I couldn't leave Guns. Well, Jesus, could you imagine that? Megadeth with Slash? He just doesn't fit that mold. That's just odd. Oh, we lost 3 more. Fuck! Why didn't you assholes say goodbye? You know, I appreciate the whole, tuning in, but goddamn, motherfuckers tune in and they stay here for a while, and then they just fucking dip out. I mean, it's cool. Do you? I appreciate what little support I got, but goddamn. We've been at this for not even 2 hours, and we've lost more than half the people. What do you think about that, Roxy? She don't give a shit. She's sleeping. Alright, whatever. If I lose any more, I'm just going to pull the plug. And I'll be sad. I'll be more mad than sad, but, it's whatever. I'm stay if you want to. Fuck off if you want to fuck off. But all I'm asking you, just say goodbye. Fuck, I'm not asking for the world here. Just have some fucking manners. Everyone wants to say hi, but nobody wants to say bye. How's that even fucking work? Just dip out. You're in my fucking house. You're a guest. I'd like to know that you're leaving so I could say, oh, don't leave, but if you have to, have a great night. No, nothing. I can't do that if you just straight up dip. Whatever. Manners maketh the man, but, waffles. I crashed wherever I could, and I did whatever came to mind, and there was a point in there. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Another place I frequented, as did many of us, was Hell House, a pit that embodied our collective mind at the time. It was a very obvious Rorschach test for anyone who might consider working with us or knowing us at all. Hell House was a West Arkeen production. It was a place, in theory, a home, that he'd rented with a few of his Harley-Davidson biker friends. Well, Moobot showed me 4, so maybe refresh. Penis. Moobot could be a liar, but nobody's saying anything, so I have no idea. 1 or 2 people say something randomly, and then, I'm just going to assume that those are the only viewers. Oh my god, see, everybody's got different fucking numbers. Twitch is saying 5, Moobot's saying 4, you're saying 9. Well, Nate, you need to freaking damn keep those numbers because they're not actually a tangible thing. That he'd rented with a few of his Harley-Davidson biker friends who had relocated from the East Coast. Just ignore the numbers. I'm not going to ignore the numbers because I'm not reading my dadgum self. Gosh darn it. The house was a ranch with 3 bedrooms along one end from front to back. Ah, balls. I'll wait. I'll wait for the Geico ad. Roxy, you going to wait for the Geico ad? You're doing good, girl. You're doing good. You know, you can save a whole bunch of your money on your insurance by just not paying it. Ooh, that tastes like whiskey. Gotta stay hydrated, kids. Yeah, I think I'm done drinking after this one's done, but, you know, it is books and bourbon, so... I know, that's... Just not feeling that roar of the audience thing. You know, you guys were super chatty a minute ago. And then now... Waffles. I know, you guys are so into the book and hanging on to every word that you couldn't possibly want to interrupt it with conversation. I get it. 10-4. I'm chatty. Yes, you are, Ray Ray. Yes, you are. Oh, where? The house was arranged with 3 bedrooms along one end from front to back. I know, Roxy just... She wants to say something, but she's doing so good curled up in a ball that, you know, waffles. The rear bedroom was occupied by Red Ed and his girlfriend/wife. Their room was off limits to all because Ed was the biggest biker in the residence, and his girl was an even more formidable threat. You knew on sight not to fuck with her, but they were both sweet as could be. No one ever disturbed their room. In fact, I don't think anyone had ever been in it. The middle bedroom was where these other bikers, Paul and Del James, lived. Their place was set up to be a small home recording studio, and Wes had the bedroom in the front, which was just a pigsty, with that no one wanted to go in there. All you could do was lie on the bed. It was such a mess, you couldn't stand in there and you couldn't sit down. I hear that there was a backyard at Hell House. I'd love to know what it looked like. During all of that time that I spent there, including my time as a resident, I never made it past the kitchen. That was one of the areas, along with the living room, where transient members like me gathered and left the formidable bikers and their girlfriends well enough alone in their rooms. Visitors were allowed in the living room, the kitchen, and that other room. I guess it was the den? There was also the pantry where West often chose to pass out. As chaotic as it was, some kind of unspoken law applied where no one disturbed the legal residents, while every common area was free-for-all war zone where everything in sight could be broken or lit on fire. No problem. That's a thing. I can't imagine who decided to rent those fuck-ups their property because they turned it into a communal crash pad, more gruesome than anything else I'd ever seen in a first world country. It was the second to last structure on the block. It was surrounded by apartment buildings, and the front lawn sloped up so that it looked like it was on a hill. It was just south of Sunset and Poinsettia, and as you came down the block, it stuck out like the house in Psycho. There are a few things that only spending a night there could teach you. The most important being that if you lay down anywhere, there was a 2-to-1 chance that you'd leave with crabs. I'm still not sure why the lot of us weren't just hauled in by cops every single night. There were always cars and bikes on the lawn and trash all over the place, and there were always people coming and going and loud music at all hours of the night. Hell House was so raucous that from a distance it appeared to be vibrating. One of the regulars to be found at Hell House was Del James, a true oxymoron. He was a biker guy with tattoos and the whole thing, but he was a writer. Del was tight with all of us at one point, but he became tighter with Axel as time went on. Axel really took to him, responding to his intellect and how Del patiently listened to Axel express himself deeply. They did a lot of writing together, and I think they still do. Dell ended up writing treatments for some of our videos, as well as having written the short story that inspired Axel to write November Rain. During this bit of a band downtime as we searched for a producer, we frequented Hell House a bit too much. But I was the only one vagrant enough to live on and off as well. Live there on and off as well. I even did a few early interviews there. When I read them, I couldn't believe how shocked the journalists were by the surroundings. To me, there was nothing crazy about it at all. Waffles. Anyways, hopefully everybody's night is going well. Even though you guys are being so super quiet. Super quiet. Thank you for being respectful of the stream, but you know, a little interaction goes a super long way. Can't be just Ray and Nate. Or it can be. I don't know. Waffles. My other main social scene, aside from Hell House and the stripper complex across the street from Izzy and Steve, revolved around the ladies of the Seventh Veil, which is a strip club on the Sunset that is still alive and kicking. You guys should get a prize. You got a grilled cheese sandwich. I like to shack up with a few of the girls who work there, who shared an apartment off Hollywood Boulevard, where we'd usually drink ourselves senseless all night long. One of the girls in that scene was named Cameron. Every single one of us fucked her at one point or another, and Steven ended up dating her for a while. And across the board, she gave each and every one of us crabs. It was ridiculous. We started to call her Crabron to her face. Oh my fuck. I gave her the benefits of the doubt. I thought that maybe I'd picked up crabs from over at Hell House or any of the other questionable places I chose to sleep at the time. But that wasn't the case. Crabron had a nice little apartment of her own in West Hollywood, and the one time I slept with her over there, I got crabs there too. Gross. Man. I don't know. It's a different time, I suppose. Crabberon. Fucking hell. Oh, shit. I am not sober enough to fucking deal with Crabberon and the likes. Another stripper worth mentioning is Adriana Smith, the girl that both Axel and Steven dated and that Axel forever immortalized on our debut record. But we'll all get to all of that in just a little bit. My little universe over at the Seventh Veil was great. I'd show up around 11 p.m., gather some tip money from the girls, head down to the liquor store, stock up on Jim Beam, the poor man's Jack Daniels, and have a party started for them back at their place when they got off work. As someone with no place of his own, it was the best startup I could imagine. A cool, reckless spot full of girls where I could get away with drinking or doing whatever else I wanted to do without anyone giving me a hard time. Waffles! Indeed. That actually sounds kind of nice. You know, just let me get the party started and, you know, it's here I am. The ladies let me do whatever. But I'm a different and an older man, and given the opportunity to do so today, nah. I'm good. I'm tired. I'd rather just go to bed. It's too much nonsense for me, regardless of needing a place to stay. Oh, I got a place to stay. I'm even keeping a dog here. Hey, ain't that right, Roxy? This a good girl? Yes, it is. It's a good girl. Okay. Anyways, she opened her eyes. I don't know if you could see that on camera, but... In the back of my mind, I was aware that we were no closer to choosing a producer and that the inertia was destroying us. I was strung out, drinking, doing drugs when I could, with very little money, and the rest of us weren't much better. I was back to relying on friends and living on couches, and living the street life once again. But this was worse than the old days. Back then it was fun because the band and I were working towards something. Now it felt like we were too disorganized and fucked up to be anything other than vagrants, and we'd made it. I knew deep inside that I needed to get my shit together, and I couldn't last in the abyss much longer. Around this time, our dealer Sammy got busted, and that was a real turning point. I was at Izzy and Steven's that day, and Izzy's girlfriend Desi had gone out to meet Sammy for us at one of his regularly scheduled spots where all of his clients came out of the woodwork to score. The cops had planned a sting, and when Desi left and never came back, we got worried. Much later, we got her phone. They'd taken in all of Sammy's clients, and were going to Springer, but Sammy was not coming back for a long, long time. That was a big reality check for us. I remember Izzy and I desperately scouring the streets looking for some smack. It was a mess. I ended up going back to Yvonne's and kicking there for the third time. I just stayed up for days and didn't feel well, claiming I'd caught the flu again. Meanwhile, Tom Zutaut was at his wife's wit's end. He called us into Geffen one day. We thought to discuss another handful of producers that he wanted us to meet. Once he got us into his office, he just stared at us for a while. I was nodding out, still a mess from drying out at Yvonne's, and the rest of the guys looked rough as well. "What the hell can I do for you?" he said. "Take a look at yourselves. Do you even think you're capable of making a record? You guys have to get it together. Get focused. Time is running out." His comments hung in the air, but they made an impression because slowly but surely, without making a big deal about it or even acknowledging it, we got ourselves together. You know what, guys? I think that's going to be it for me for tonight. Because the words are starting to get blurry and I only have a tiny sip left. Questions, comments, otherwise? Nate, you gonna be on for a while? Are you on Xbox? Are you home? Yes, of course. Anytime. Look, I told you I'd make bomb grilled cheese, and maybe now you believe me. Anyways, come outside for a smoke. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit, Nate. I got a couple things to do first, but I'm going to take the dog out for a walk and all that goodness. Guys, I'll be on tomorrow night with Bobby Ross Wednesday. I will be completing Luffy's hair, and he shall be done as well. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's it for now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and making this another successful Books and Bourbon. Sorry, Cheetah, you didn't accept the plane ticket when you had the chance. That's on you, boo-boo. Anyways, Mama, you want to go outside? Roxy, you want to go outside? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, you big stretch. Oh, big sweet girl. Where's your boy? Oh, I got you now, Saggy Nips. We'll pick you up for the big camera. Say good night. Good night, everybody. Bye, bye, bye. Bye. How do you stink this much? It's only been 10 days since you've had a fucking bath. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. Alright, good night, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. Nate, I'll see you in a little bit. By a little bit, I mean about... Yeah. Okay, bye.